Welcome everybody to tonight's webinar. This is a Star Diamond in 60 Days training. We are on week 7, part 1. So we only have a couple weeks left. So make sure that you are pushing to hit diamond before the end of this training so you will qualify and go into the drawing for the cash prizes. Make sure after you get off this webinar that you go to the Facebook page and comment on the thread to share your feedback with us, to let us know what your biggest takeaways were from this training from Trina Gray. She's going to be speaking on leadership tonight. And also ask us if you have any questions, feel free to ask them there. Just tag either Scotty, myself, Mindy Wender, Meg Wazinski, or Brandy Botts. We will be there to help you answer any questions you have. And again, we just love to hear your feedback. So I'm going to just get into it tonight because I just think that Trina Gray, whenever she speaks, I hope that you guys have heard her speak before, because she can just captivate everybody in the room. Like, everything she says has you hanging on the edge of your seat and you're not getting bored. You're just, all eyes are on her, because I mean, she just is so down to earth, straightforward, to the point, and she does, like, her lessons and the things that she talks about, she packs a punch. So make sure you're going to take notes tonight. This is, I mean, we're on week 7, guys. So yeah, we're talking about leadership now. If you have been doing that list that Scotty posts a list in the Facebook group with his 10 things that you need to do every single day, basically same as the power hour. If you guys are following the things that we have taught you in the last 7 weeks, you should be seeing results. You should be hosting a challenge group. You should be growing your team. And if you aren't, that's the only person that has power over that is you. So we cannot change that. We are giving you all the tools. Your job is to apply them, put in the time, put in the work, and it's up to you. Now, if you're a newer coach and maybe you don't have a ton of coaches yet, that's normal. Do not get discouraged. It takes time to build your network, to build relationships, to learn all this stuff. So please don't think that you're behind or anything like that. But those of you who started off ready to go with this and were ready to start growing your team and all that stuff, that you should have a team underneath you by now. We're on week 7. Okay, so you guys should be close to hitting diamond, which I'm so excited about. So tonight, like I said, we're going to have Trina Gray on here speaking about leadership. In order to get to diamond, in order to hold diamond, and in order to go beyond diamond, you need to have these things that she's going to go over tonight. So she spoke for me, my last Star Diamond in 60 Days training we did in July of 2013. She spoke on a call for me for my diamond and above coaches. Well, and Brandy Botts was a part of that training as well. So when I got the feedback from a lot of my diamond coaches on Team Go-Getters, they thought this call was so excellent that I just felt it would be really great to add it in just for everybody, not just hold it off for the diamond and above. Let's just share this with all of you. And the reason why we did hold it off for only diamond and above coaches is because we felt like we didn't want to overwhelm anybody or think it might be over their head or something when they're just learning. But what Trina goes through is fundamental leadership things that you need to be applying now, whether you have one coach or maybe you have 0 coaches and you're in the works trying to add coaches. This is a good training for somebody new or somebody like maybe Scotty, Meg, or Brandy, or myself. This is good information for all of us. So Trina's going to go over that. I have, like I said, the call recording, so I'm going to replay it for you guys tonight. And again, this was only exclusive to a handful of coaches who qualified to hear this call. No one else has ever heard this call besides my leaders on Team Go-Getters. So I'm really excited to share it all with you tonight. So about Trina Gray. You guys know this, right? But she's a superstar diamond coach. She's an excellent speaker. She's on the CAB, and what CAB means is the Coach Advisory Board. There's only like 4 new people, new coaches out of 150,000 that are added to the Coach Advisory Board each year. And Trina happens to be one of them. So we are very lucky to have her be a voice for us coaches on the CAB. And she's $1 million earner. She owns 2 health clubs in a little small town in Michigan, northern Michigan, and she's a mom and wife. Now, what's so great about Trina is that when she first started, she wasn't the type of coach that just like, okay, I started Beachbody and I'm going to go diamond in 30 days and all this stuff. It took her a while to see what Beachbody was all about and for her to really treat it like a business. The problem she was having, from what she told me, is that she owned 2 health clubs and they took out a huge business loan. So she had a lot riding on those businesses, right? And so she was a great business owner, a great leader. She had she's into fitness. People see her as that go-to fitness person. I mean, I didn't start that way. So she had all these positive things going for her, but she just could not wrap her head around the opportunity of Beachbody, and really she was keeping it separate. So she had her health clubs, and then Beachbody was just a little thing that she did somewhat on the side. Then she had an aha moment one year. This was back in 2010 or 2000, I think it was 2010. And she realized that they're both fitness. They're both helping people. Everything that she's about is what Beachbody is. So when she realized that, she started to really treat Beachbody like a business. So she really said to herself, okay, I'm going to think of Beachbody, this little business that I paid $40 for. I'm going to think of this as like one of my health clubs, like I took out a business loan. So it was from that point forward when she started to apply the basic to-dos and hit goals like Success Club and adding 3 to 5 new coaches to her team each month and all these things. When she really focused on the fundamentals and put some time and effort and treated this like a business, her business took off. Now, could you imagine if she never had that aha moment and she didn't have this thing? Now she's $1 million earner. She's one of the top coaches. She's on CAB, all of these things. And she still has this awesome balance in her life with her family, which is number one for her. I mean, I couldn't imagine. So her story gives me goosebumps just to know that that she saw the light and saw the opportunity of Beachbody. So, and maybe you guys can relate to that. So that's why I wanted to share, because I know there's a lot of coaches who are not treating this like a business and they just can't wrap their head around that this is $1 million opportunity. Every single one of you on the line could be Trina Gray. Could be, she was not earning anything with Beachbody, not one thing with Beachbody, maybe a couple customers here and there, to now being $1 million earner and doing something she loves. I mean, that could be you. That could be you in just a couple years or even shorter period of time. So with all of that said, I hope that inspired you to really get fired up for what she's about to share with you tonight. And I am going to press play on this call, and I will close it out after she's finished.
So guys, let's just jump right into the content tonight. I hope that you are someplace for 30 minutes where you can just be present. So grab a notebook, grab some paper, grab a pen. Please do me a favor. Pretend right now that you are in a Google Hangout and I can see you. And I would love your time and attention and your focus. So if you've got Twitter up, if you've got Facebook, if you've got your email, tell yourself that I promise you that can wait for 30 minutes, or it can wait till tomorrow. If you only have 30 minutes to work your business tonight, this is where you need to be, present with me right now. And if you're listening to the recording later, same for you. Sit down, give yourself the gift of moving yourself ahead in life, learning something that you are meant to learn tonight. Everything you're going to hear tonight, I guarantee you, is not rocket science, is not anything novel or some great awakening. What you're going to hear tonight is something you've heard before, but I just feel in my gut that one or two things are going to resonate differently because of where you are in your life, in your business, in your mindset. You're going to hear something in a different way, and you're going to say, you know what? I've heard 5 people say that before, but I know right now that was meant for me. And you're going to miss that aha moment. You're going to miss that opportunity to move your needle forward if you're trying to be elsewhere. Okay, so we're on Google Hangout. I want you to pretend I can see you right now. Cool, so go hide in a corner if you need to. Sit behind a door. Do what you need to do to focus and tell your family you'll be with them in 30 minutes. Shut down everything else, okay? That was a funny story, quickly. I said this on a GSR about 2 weeks ago. I was doing a GSR for one of my Diamonds new coaches because I was working with one of my Diamonds on improving her GSRs, and so we were kind of teaming up, doing one together. And I said to the woman at the beginning this kind of same thing, like, hey, our time is valuable, your time is valuable. We're going to give each other an hour of our day today, which is such a gift. Shut everything down. No kidding. I've got my computer up because I have her Facebook page up because I was trying to look and see who I was talking to. I hadn't met her before. She wasn't my coach. So I just wanted to look at her. So when she's telling me about her family, I was going to ask her about her husband and all that. I could look at her. So my email shut down. You know, everything else, like work-related, shut down. I just have her page in front of me just to connect with her. She's answering posts on her page while we're talking. So I'm not kidding. This call, I swear, you can ask my Diamond coach who was on the line. I don't pull any punches. Like, I value your time 100%. That's why I was on the line ready to rock tonight. You value your time or you wouldn't be on the phone. So I just like leaned back in my chair, and I won't use her name, but I was like, girl, here's the scoop. We're 10 minutes into a call, and we're about to finish the call. And it was just like quiet. I'm like, totally honor you, honor your business. If you don't shut down your Facebook, I'm not doing this with you. And it was like just this like, are you willing to be that bold? Let me just start that. Are you willing to be that bold and believe that what you have is a gift to give to others? And you're bold enough to ask somebody for their time, knowing that you've got something you want to share and knowing you're willing to listen, right? So leaders are willing to be bold. So here's the deal. We have 8 points to get through tonight, and I'm going to talk quickly, try to spend no more than 3 to 4 minutes on each point, knowing there's so much more to share, but I just know that 1 or 2 of these are meant for you, and so I want to share quite a few of them so you can find the right one, all right? So my 8 lessons for you on leadership, and this is what was speaking to me today, what was on my heart and mind for you today. I just decided these are the 8 things that have been working for me in my life, or 8 lessons that have taken me to a new level in my life. So I'm just going to share those with you. Number 1, my number 1 lesson on leadership is that if you only have time to be on the line for 4 minutes tonight, this is the most important one, so I'm going to start with it. You may have heard me say this before in a newsletter, or you've seen me post it on Facebook, but it is my personal mantra for success. I want it on t-shirts. I want my own book with this name. Sky's the limit. This is going to be what I want to be known for in leadership. And that is the concept that success is not convenient. That success is not convenient. I'm just going to let that sink in for a moment. And then I want to share with you the second part of that statement, which is so powerful, but it leads to a life of convenience. And I really do truly, I'm not joking, I really do have a book kind of gelling for me on that topic of different risks and different things I've done in life that have been so beyond inconvenient, as you have as well. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. What have I done in life that's been inconvenient that has led to a greater place? And there's so many. And the reason being is that most people don't do it. Most people stop shy of getting uncomfortable, doing the inconvenient. And I don't mean like, oh, it's not convenient to be on a call right now when you could be watching a show or doing something with your family. That's like a mild level of inconvenience, I got to say. Getting on a conference call, I understand, isn't maybe the ideal thing that you have going on in your night tonight, but hopefully you're engaged enough in your business that you look forward to learning, right? When I mean inconvenient, I mean like, are you willing to do the nitty-gritty crap that most people won't do? And I really mean like dig in. Are you willing? Let me just give you some examples. These are all like, not one of these is it, but just collectively when I look at my business, I think, okay, when I'm making a decision about to do something or not do something, I really use this litmus test in my head. What would the average person do? And then I say, oh, sweet, I'm not average, so I'm going to go kick some ass and do this instead. Right? So you've got to decide, I'm not an average person. I'm going to do more than the average person. My family is still a priority. My friends are still a priority, whatever. I'm not saying blow through your priorities, so hear me closely. I'm saying do the things that are inconvenient. So I remember one time, it's like 3 weeks ago, I had made myself an appointment to go to a spa across the state. I was really excited about it because I was really looking forward to just some downtime, some time by myself, some time in the car, and I was really looking forward to going to the spa. Well, a good friend of mine asked me to do a team call for him in his downline. And it wasn't convenient at all. It was supposed to be during my quiet time in the car. So I really had to think about, all right, what would I rather do? I'd rather listen to my music and check out. But you know what? That's what the average person would say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enjoy my car ride to the spa. I'm going to enjoy the spa. And I'm not trying to sound hoity-toity. It's not like I go to the spa every week. This was like a special day for me. And on the way back, I'm going to schedule the team call with him. I'm just going to kick some booty on the car ride home. But then I realized the night before this trip that, crap, half of the way to my spa in northern Michigan didn't have phone service. Shoot. So what did I do? Most people would cancel the call, right? Most people would be like, oh, you can't make it, blah, blah, I'm not going to phone service. Hell no. I had my husband get online that night and sign me up for OnStar. So I would have service no matter what. And I just decided I would do the whole call through OnStar. So I have to pull over to the side of the road to make sure my OnStar is going to work. I'm so paranoid it's going to cut off. It was freaking like 95 degrees in northern Michigan at this point. I just like put my windows down and just sat in the heat. Trucks were like flying by me. And I was like, dang it, this is so not convenient to be on this call right now. But I'm willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do. I'm willing to do a call on New Year's Eve, an hour before we got to a New Year's Eve party, because that was the only time I could get a GSR in. I was willing to do 3 back-to-back GSRs on a Friday night when my family went paddleboarding. That's not to say my family's not important to me. That's saying in my life, I need to really earn that time so when I'm with my family, I can completely shut off and not worry that, oh, I should have gotten that one more thing done. I just get it freaking done, and then I completely check out and go enjoy it. So it was not convenient to do 3 back-to-back calls and to not finish till 6:30 on a Friday night. But then once I got out to the lake with my family, I was completely shut off. I'd earned that rest. And maybe that speaks to you, maybe it doesn't. I like to feel like I'm an endurance athlete, and my rest and recovery are as important as my work. But you don't get to enjoy the rest and recovery if you don't do the work. You've got to dig in and do the work. You've got to do the stuff that no one else is willing to do. Success is not convenient. It's not convenient to get a babysitter to get yourself to a Super Saturday. It's not convenient to pay the money and get yourself to leadership or get yourself to summit or get yourself to wherever. But I'm telling you, successful people do it. They make it happen. It's not convenient to get to a Franklin Covey training, but it was one of the game-changing moves of my year. So listen, I'm not saying run over your roles in life. I'm not saying business is everything. I'm saying work hard in your business and then enjoy life and completely disconnect and enjoy your family. But you don't really get that part until you put the work in. Do what the average person would not do. So that's point number 1, success is not convenient. So that was the longest one because I feel very passionate about that one. Maybe what you want to do tonight is write down, here's why I'm not average. And you write down specific examples of stuff that you have done. You're like, dang it, I did that with no one looking. That was me finishing that Compound Effect book at frickin' midnight to get it done. That was me sending out invitations at 6 o'clock in the morning before the kids got up, right? Empower yourself. Like, satisfy yourself. Show yourself that you already are on this path, that success is not convenient, but leads to a life of convenience. A life of convenience, in my mind, being greater choices, greater time freedom, greater ability to do things that you want for your family. Okay? Point number 2, anyone can be successful through sheer brute force. Anyone can be successful through sheer brute force. But Trina says that's not the best way. So here's the deal. It's not about being willing to work harder. It's not about being like, dude, if she's going to work 4 hours a day, I'm doing 5. If she's getting up at 6 in the morning, I'm getting up at 5:30. If she's still on her Facebook at midnight, dude, I'm staying up till 1. It's not about logging in hours. You don't have a punch clock. There's no time clock. No one gives a rip if you build a 6-figure business in 6 hours a week or 60 hours a week. And the reality is probably somewhere in the middle. I would think that most people, I can speak for myself and people on my team who are building 6-figure businesses, are doing more than the average Joe, but they're not doing 80 hours a week, right? They're doing just a consistent, maybe, 4 or 5 hours a day, consistent, 3 hours a day, but consistent. Anyone can be successful through sheer brute force, meaning I'm gonna kill myself I'm gonna ignore my family, I'm gonna ignore my friends, I'm gonna ignore my house, I'm just gonna go, 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 go. I'm gonna get every freaking Success Club point out there and then have no life to speak of. Anyone can be successful through sheer brute force, but what I want you to do is to learn how to work smarter. How do you do that? Listen to what we learned at Summit. What did we learn at Summit? We learned about being better at getting savvy about your own strengths, getting better at your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses, right? So to work smarter for you might be like, what am I really good at in this business? And all I need to do is more of it better. What am I really good at this business? Do more of that function better. Are you really good at team calls? Are you really good at getting started right? Are you really good at leading challenges, small group challenges, private virtual online challenges? Are you really good at telling the world about psychology? Are you really good about onboarding new coaches? What are you really good at? And just figure out a way in your business to do that function as often as you can. It's possible. You don't have to master every aspect of Beachbody coaching. You can be the jack of all trades, and as I've said before, the jack of all trades is broke. The jack of all trades is someone who's trying to do it all. You can't do it all. Figure out what you specifically are good at. Do that more and better. And I'm asking you to somewhat put blinders on to some of the other things that are out there. Meaning, let me just give you a Beachbody example. If you're really good at psychology challenges and it's changed your life and you love it, don't get pulled in. Don't get sucked in to doing turbo challenges. Don't get sucked into doing T25 even though it's hot. If you're good at Shakeology challenges and you get people on it and you get them on Home Direct and you grow them from a customer to a coach, freaking stick with that and dig deep. Go deep in your niche. Don't get pulled in a million directions because people around you. That's not to say that you should never grow your horizons. That's saying do well with what you're good at. Social media. Are you killing it on Instagram? Awesome. Kill it on Instagram. Are you just like loving, I have one coach who just is loving LinkedIn, another one is loving Google+, and she's like, do I need to also do a like page? Should I be tweeting? I'm like, hell no, you can, okay? There's some people who do their whole business and they master all social media. I guess I'm saying for the average person who wants to be amazing, take one thing and be amazing at it. Take Google+ and meet every single person you can and connect with every single person in a deep way. Okay, you don't need to be successful through sheer brute force. You can be successful in a calmer, smarter way of figuring out your strengths and doing those things more often and better. Cool? Point number 3. It's called meaningful leadership. Meaningful leadership. And this is what honestly came to me today based on an email I received. And I hope that you know me well enough to know that I am not freaking on this call to toot my own horn. By all means, you can make whatever. I live in a super small town in northern Michigan. I'm not in this for the limelight. I'm not in it to get a Hollywood star. I'm not in it to, I love my small town. This is where I want to live. I don't care about the, fame and recognition, okay? But I want to share with you what it means to have meaningful leadership. And my definition of it is to make real human connections. And you could start basing your success in coaching by how many testimonials you're creating. And I just mean people. How many stories are you collecting of either coaches whose lives are different or customers whose lives are different because of your participation in their life? So consider that if you have that, the business activity tracker, the BAT, and you're one of the people who, who uses it consistently, religiously, which is great. That means that you're tracking your progress. What if you're just willing to add a little column to that said connections or testimonials or stories? How many lives have you actually helped change? How many people have said, my life is different because I'm working with you? And you might have so many, but can you start tracking those in one location? Can you start just like when you get a great comment in one of your challenge groups? Like I got one. It's right in front of me from my coach or my customer Tia. Randomly, Mindy, she actually lives up in the UP, and she's one of my customers from Beachbody, and she's in one of my challenge groups. And I asked in my challenge group the other day, do you have a sibling? Tell us about him or her. I'm just trying to get to know my challengers better. Listen to this. Tia wrote back, blah, 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 lots of other stuff. And then I can't believe you asked about my siblings. How did you know that that's something I love to talk about? I have two brothers. One grew up making lots of poor choices in life. He currently lives somewhere in Florida. We're disconnected. He will forever be in my heart. I'm here for him if he ever chooses to come back. Wow. My other brother passed away in a house fire 8 years ago at the age of 23. He taught me so much about living life to the fullest. He had a great personality. It was so uplifting whenever he was around. Although his life was cut short, his legend will forever live on. I think about him often with my children. He's my angel brother for sure. Trina, thank you for caring about us enough to want to get to know the real us. Dang it, I know you guys are all doing the same thing in your challenges and with your customers and with your coaches. And I know you're not out there just collecting points or ranks, but I just want to remind you that your success is, I'm telling you, 100% more connected to the stories that you're collecting, the testimonials that you're collecting, the human connections that you're making, more than the points and the ranks and the volume. I promise you, if you trust me, that the more stories you create, the other things will follow. So I know that Beachbody loves us to track the actual points and ranks and volume, and of course that's important to business, but I'm telling you, dial into human connection. Dial into creating testimonials, okay? Cool. So next point is number 4, stop asking advice. I'm on a leadership call here, and I'm being honest with you. Stop asking for advice. And if I could show you a slide or a visual that goes with this in my head, when I thought of this picture of like a cartoon of like faceless people all going blah, 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 blah. Like, stop asking so much advice. Of course you need to know, the basics about the business. Of course you need to know how do you sell a challenge pack, and what are some of the objections you're going to get, how to overcome them. Basic stuff like that, I get. Of course, there's the challenge guide, so it gives you content to share. I think that's enough. I think you got enough to roll with. And I would use examples, but we're on a recorded call, and I don't know where all this is going to go, and I don't want to be talking about coaches on my team, even though I would share with them directly how I feel about what they're doing, and myself included. But I'm just going to use generic examples. So I've got a couple of coaches who are so committed to wanting to do the business. They're so willing to learn. They're so willing to dig in. But they ask so many questions and ask for so much advice that every once in a while I got to be like, dude, just take some action. Action is better than no action. You can't go wrong. This isn't rocket science. No one's going to die. Get them in your group. Rock it. Be you. Okay, so stop asking for so much advice. If you want to run a fit club, get online, look up some rules for fit clubs, look up the waivers, Google it, look up some YouTubes, look at other people's fit clubs, and just go do one. If you were a participant in a fit club, what would you want it to be like? Would you want a presentation at the beginning or at the end? Would you want to have some Shakeology samples? Would you want some P90X bars? Would you want to do multiple programs, 20 minutes of each? Would you want to do one? Would you want to meet somebody else in that fit club? Would you want the person to introduce you to other people? Would you want to say something about yourself? What would you want to do? Cool, just go do that, right? So, an example, I had somebody who was, talking, but wanting to get a challenge group started. And then she had a question that came across our team Facebook page. Hey, everybody out there thinking, that's the problem, thinking about starting my first challenge group, wondering, do you guys all use the same program, or do you let people come into your challenge group with multiple programs? Cool, I get that. That's a legitimate question. Who cares? What do you want it to be? Have you done multiple programs and they worked for you? Amazing. Say in the month of August, I'd like you to pick your favorite program, get one from my site, and join me. These are the 3 I've done. Does one of these speak to you? Or maybe you're just fanatical about the new T25 and you want just people on T25. Do you know that there's not a right or wrong way? I know you know this. You're all diamonds and star diamonds, and you're like, Trina, this is so obvious. Cool, maybe this is some advice you need to pass along to your team in a loving, mentoring sort of way. Like, hey, I love and honor that you want to ask me so many questions, but truly, Jane, I believe in you. I believe that your gut's telling you the right thing. I believe in your instinct. I believe in your good judgment. Edify other people and tell them to trust themselves. Trust themselves. Hey, I'm flattered. I'm flattered that you want to know how I do it, but really, trust yourself as a coach and go for it. And my last example for this, hopefully one of them will stick with you, is that if someone came to you and said, I want to lose 20 pounds, would you seriously need to go ask 100 people how to help that person lose 100 pounds? Heck no. And is there only one right answer? Heck no. Could they do it by walking every single day? Yeah, that would take from now until 5 years from now, but it could happen, right? Could they do it by picking up a DVD? Sure. Could they do it by eating better? Sure. Could they do it by doing a mix of all of them? Sure. Could they do it by joining a gym? Sure. I mean, there's so many ways for somebody to lose weight. There's so many ways for you to grow your business. There's so many ways for you to run a challenge group. Listen to your gut, trust your instinct, stop asking so many questions, and just go. Cool? Awesome. Most people, by the way, ask questions and never do it. Or they ask and they get started, but they get tripped up and they need more questions answered. Be the person who trusts yourself enough that you're willing to do some research and then just go. Awesome. Point number 5. Sometimes I got to pretend like you're in the room with me and I'm like going to start pacing because I can't see you, but hopefully you're engaged. I believe that you are. Point number 5 is you can't get around this one. We've all heard it before. If you've read any of Chalene Johnson's stuff, you've heard this. But you can't get around this one. You've got to shut down the voices in your head that are negative self-talk. You've got to shut down the voices in your head. Here's the way that I see it. A friend of mine in a group that I'm in, a business group that I'm in, wrote on a note card that said, I will not obey the voices in my head. That was when he was opening his own health club at the age of like 28 in a small town in Texas with no background in business. He only knew he loved fitness, and he was willing to dig in and make it work, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So he said, I will not obey the voices in my head because there was no reason why he should be successful. Really. No one in his family had ever even gone to college. No one was an entrepreneur. Everyone in his family worked in manufacturing, worked in a factory in Texas. And here's this young guy who was a great soccer player who loved fitness who decided, why not me, right? He had to literally shut off the voices in his head. So what are the voices in your head saying to you? I promise they're the same things that they're saying to me. Someone else knows more than I do. Someone else is fitter. Someone else is smarter. Someone else has more time. Someone else has more connections. Someone else has more support. Someone else has blah, blah, blah. No, they don't. No, they don't. Everybody has pros and cons. Everybody has things that make their life easier and harder. It's just all one big equation, and your equation is different than everybody else's, but all of them equal success. But you've got to shut down those voices in your head. If you don't truly feel like you personally are deserving of success, then you're not. And this is, Mindy walks this walk, and is such a great example of this. If she didn't feel like she was deserving of the success she has today, she would still be on the verge of bankruptcy in a fairly dead-end financial job, not making great ends meet for her family. She had to at some point just take this leap of faith that, why not her? Shut down the voices in your head. I don't need to be anybody but me. If you do not believe in you, I guarantee you no one's going to follow you. I've got one coach on my team in particular who, man, I really, truly do believe in, because I believe that to her core she loves fitness. I believe that to her core she wants other people to love it. But she has so much self-doubt that it's so transparent that I think other people want to follow her, but not really. So they're like, you don't really even believe in you. Where would you take me? Cool. So I know you know this one, and I'm sure a lot of these things you're well beyond and you've mastered, but maybe these are some points that you'd want to share with some of your coaches. Cool? All right, number 6 is stop accumulating so much advice. Knowledge. Stop accumulating so much knowledge. And what I mean by that is, I know you've been on a lot of conference calls. I know you get on the Monday National Coach call. I know you're listening to Platinum Billionaires calls or your team calls. I know you're reading all the books you're supposed to be reading. Okay, that's all great, but at some point, stop accumulating so much knowledge until you've actually put some of that into action. And I'm going to give you permission right now on this call, and hopefully Mindy will agree with me as your sponsor. I'm going to give you permission right now to just put the brakes on. If you've been reading one of the books, Sense Summit, and you haven't even put into practice some of the things you learned there, put the book down. put the book down and go back to what we learned at Summit and start looking at, are you chopping at the same tree every day, or are you chopping at a million different trees? But like, think about some of the things we learned out there, and before you decide you're going to pick up a new book or buy a new book or master the 15 irrefutable laws, have you learned any of the laws? Have you implemented any of the laws we've learned so far? To be honest, I said this to somebody on our team recently where she was like, oh, I'm already on my 3rd book since Summit. And I'm like, really? What did you do with the information from Summit? Give me an example of what you put into action. What is different about your leadership style now than it was before then? What did you learn there that you put into action? Can you ask yourself that question, or would you guys be willing to, as leaders, to ask each other that question? That before you decide to get your next book and your next personal development, whatever you're going to do next, can you look at what you've learned so far and give actual examples of how that's improved you as a leader? Okay? So I'm giving you permission to put the brakes on, go back a couple months. What did you read before? What's made an impact? Why don't you just do that again? Read that same point again and just do more of that. I am a huge, avid, raving fan of a few business people in life. I don't follow everybody. I find a few voices that speak to me, and I follow them like a hawk. Okay? So there's 100 different leaders out there to follow. In Beachbody, there's 100 different leaders to follow in business and personal development. I pick a couple. So in business, for me, it happens to be Darren Hardy. And if you've heard me speak before, you know this. But I'm telling you, when he speaks, it's speaking to me. It's in my heart. I get him. I get his style. I just want to know more from him. I was at a mastermind retreat of his earlier this year. It was beyond inconvenient to go to, and I'm not being a martyr. Dude, this business has changed my life. I'm just telling you, it was so incredibly inconvenient to buy the plane ticket, get the hotel, get all my classes covered, get my husband to, redo his things at work to take care of the kids, find babysitters. Holy crap, it was inconvenient and very expensive. 100% worth it. I needed to hear from someone who I really resonate with. And one thing he said was, please do not read 52 books this year. Read one book 52 times. And I was like, I've always thought that. And so I certainly don't always have the right gut instinct in business, but that is one thing I have always been sure of, that I will read Dan Kennedy's No BS Business Success. I will read The Compound Effect 50 times before I pick up a new book. Because I know I haven't mastered everything that's in there. Okay? So stop accumulating knowledge. Put your current knowledge into action. Cool. 2 more to go. I'm talking fast. I'm going to get this done. Point number 7. This is so random, and I have a random story that goes with it, but I think it's really important. The best leaders learn from other leaders, but embrace their uniqueness. The best leaders learn from other leaders, but embrace their own uniqueness. Let me put the skids to the road here. Let me break this down. What I mean by this is stop emulating somebody else. Run your own race. And I'm telling you, this is a freaking tough one when you start to raise in the ranks in Beachbody. From my own personal experience, of course, this whole college is very subjective, sharing my own stories with you. I feel like the more I've grown in the business, the more likely I am to stop trusting myself. The more likely I am that, okay, I was fine at 2-star, 5-star, whatever it is for you. I was fine at this level, but do I really have what I need to be at this level? Can I really, roll with these cats? Can I really do what these people are doing? Self-doubt is your fastest way to failure. I had to stop looking around, and I can be really brutally honest on this one. I am so honored and seriously indebted to Beachbody for inviting me to be on the Coach Advisory Board. As Mindy said, they invite 4 new coaches per year to be on the board. I thought they were joking when they called me. I'd never run a campaign to be on the tab. I didn't have buttons like Pick Trina. So when they called me, I was really honored. But I'm telling you, I went to that first meeting, and I was going to vomit. The idea of being in the room with 7 other leaders who I really felt like were beyond where I was, where they definitely knew stuff that I didn't know, where they definitely, they've been all in the top 10 and they've been on a cruise, and am I the only one who hadn't gone? And just freaking self-doubt just crushing me. And I left that first day of meetings. I'm being totally honest. I've never shared this before. I went back to my cottage or cabin that I was in, staying in by myself, and cried. And was like, I'm not meant to be here. There's someone else more deserving. All these people I felt all these people all know each other. They all got a story. They all have a connection. I'm such an outsider. And I started painting myself into this corner of, they've all been doing this, full time. This is just everything that, that I wasn't. And when I talked to my husband late that night, he was so sad and so disappointed that I was so sad. And he just said to me, I've never known you to want to be somebody else. So why, when you're in a position of leadership for this company that you really adore, why do you all of a sudden feel like you need to be somebody else? All the people you're with are amazing, and you can be amazing in your own way. And I was like, okay, sometimes we just need to remind ourselves of that. That doesn't mean you can't learn from other leaders. Heck yeah, I picked Hillary Kelly's brain. You can ask her, Mindy. The next day I got the guts up and put on a smile and went to the people and said, hey, I really do want to try to get to know you guys more. I'd love to hear more about your business. At dinner tonight, can I ask you some questions? And they were happy to share. And I learned some things. And what I really learned was, hey, we're all really doing the same thing. We're just doing it with our own spin on it. Some people do 30-day onboarding. Some people do 60-day. Some people do team calls once a week. Some do it once a month. Who cares? Do what speaks to you. Learn about what other leaders are doing and then do what speaks to you. It's so freeing to just decide that you don't have to be somebody else. And in fact, a couple of my coaches who are just, they're in a good way, but somewhat like obsessed with the leaders. Like they know everything that they're all doing and they're on their Facebook pages and, sometimes they'll quote Mindy and then they're telling me about Hillary and they're telling me about Janelle and blah, blah, blah. I love these guys, but I'm telling you, I can't be everybody else. You can't be everybody else. When somebody on my team was like, Tom Migrant does a team call every week. We only do a team call once a month. And then we do a leader call once a week. Maybe we should do a team call once a week. And I was like, all right, somebody else can do it. Like, I'm going to do a team call once a month, and I'm going to do a leader call once a week. And if somebody else wants to contribute and do it, cool. But that's just not for me, right? Like, I don't know. You just got to do what speaks to you. So the best leaders learn from others but embrace themselves. Okay. Last quick, fast story that goes with this one because it's just funny, and I don't know why this struck me today. I was in 7th grade. This was a while ago. I'm 37. I was in 7th grade, and there was a girl in my class named Jane Lins. She was super bright. She was always like dressed perfectly. Her hair was always smooth. Mine was a wreck. She was always put together. She was at school early. I was barely there on time. Right? She was just always put together. And I remember one day in science class, we brought in our papers that were due. And I remember having to walk up to the teacher's desk to set them on his desk. And he looked at hers and was like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Hers was typed. And I remember, I graduated high school in 1993. I was in 7th grade, so dial it back. We're talking like late 80s people. No one had computers, okay? So my family didn't have a computer. I wasn't typing crap. Well, her family did have a computer, and so she was able to type her paper. And I felt so subpar. I felt so not good because she had typed hers and I had not. What's my point? The point of that, trust my gut, I'm a good writer. I had done my homework. I had done my research. I wrote a great paper. It was what was in my heart and my gut and my mind and my heart, like what I produced that mattered, right? Not the method that it came out. It's what you are as a person. Are you a good person? Do you listen to other people? Do you have their best intentions? Do you work hard? Do you have great judgment? Are you likable? Do people want to be around you? Do you make people laugh? Who the heck cares if you type your paper or turn it in and scratch? What's your content, right? What are you made up of? That's what matters. And I remember that from all the way back to 7th grade. This idea that, you know what, I can get an A on my paper too, and I did. And it didn't matter that hers looked prettier. It was my content. It was my element. It was my DNA that matters, right? So I want you to know that about you. Last and final point. This is a short one. Last and final point. Go out and, as a leader, and find your own luck. Here's what I mean by that. We always have a tendency, myself included, of course, in all of these points, to think somebody else has it luckier. That person was in a DVD. That person, Trina, they'll say Trina owns a health club. They'll say, whatever. Somebody's got it easier than you, right? For everything that someone is easier than you, that same exact scenario makes it harder for them. It's just like this. If your strength is that you're very vocal or outspoken or you're a good communicator, your weakness is that you're not a good listener. You're too much of a communicator. too much of an advocate. Sometimes you're not hearing what other people are saying, right? If your best strength is that you are freaking diligent and you're driven, your weakness is that maybe at times you're a workaholic. You don't have any boundaries for yourself, right? So we all know this concept. This is not new. Your strength flipped over is your weakness. Same thing with this. If someone has a lot of time on their hands, that could be a strength. The weakness, maybe that person has a lot of time on their hands because they don't have a lot of connections. They don't have a lot going on in their life. If you want to say my strength is that I'm already in fitness and I own health clubs, I will tell you straight up that my weakness is that I own 2 health clubs and I don't have any time. If I actually followed up on all the leads that really came my way, it would be a different ballgame, but I got to be good with where I am. I got to say I can't maybe take every opportunity in front of me, follow up with every lead, but I'm going to do the best I can with the ones I can, knowing that I've got other priorities in my business and my life. If you say that your strength is that you love the products, I have one coach who just friggin' loves Turbo Fire, right? Her weakness, unfortunately, is that she loves the products and she doesn't really embrace that this has to be a business. And you actually have to build relationships and you got to grow people and you got to want to make some money. You can't just fall in love with Beachbody products, right? Does that make sense? So every strength you have can be your weakness. No one's luckier than you are. And whatever your luck is, you can flip over and that's also going to work against you. You have to decide at the end of the call right now, you've got to say, okay, there's a few leaders, lessons I'm going to take from this, and there's a few that I'm going to write on myself or go share with your own coaches, and you're going to end it with, hey guys, why not you? Someone is going to live a life of time and financial freedom. Someone's going to create a lot of testimonials and create amazing human connections and feel needed and worthy in life. Why not you? Your luck is out there. Go find it and use it. So with that, my friends, those are my 8 points on leadership, spoken from the heart. I hope it was helpful for you. I am very willing to open up the line to questions if you need it. Or Mindy, if we are beyond your time right now, no problem. I'll let you roll it from here.
Wow, that call was awesome, you guys. Unfortunately, like I told you, this is a recording, so Trina is not available to answer your questions tonight. But like I said, if you go over to the Facebook group and just make sure that you mention either Scotty, Meg, Brandy, or myself, we will answer your questions for you. But I just love that she ended this with, why not you? Because that's kind of how we rolled it out. You know, every single one of you has the same potential to be a top coach, to be $1 million earner, to be a star diamond, to even be a diamond, wherever it is you are. What are your goals for the next 90 days or for the next couple weeks when we finish out this training? What are your goals? And just know the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. Maybe it's your self-doubts, like Trina was saying, because I know that I definitely missed out on certain goals that I wanted to hit because I had negative voices creep up in my head, or self-doubt, or I skipped my personal development for too long, a couple days in a row, and then I started doubting myself, and that's how important personal development is. And I missed out on hitting a goal because of that. So you really have to believe with all of your heart and everything inside you that you can accomplish what you're setting out to accomplish. And I mean, you really can't say that you can't, because there's other people that have. So if they can do it, you can do it too. So I hope that this call has inspired you. I hope that you've learned something tonight. And I hope that you'll go out there and start applying it. That's the biggest thing right there. We learn from these calls and from personal development, but the main thing is we need to start setting goals or adding it to our to-do list that we do every single day, that we write out every single day. Add tasks onto your to-do list about applying these things. Like today, I am going to write 5 positive affirmations where I'm going to say I can achieve diamond in 2 weeks. I can achieve star diamond in 2 weeks, or wherever you're at with your goals. Of course, everybody is different. So you really got to start applying the things that we're going over, because that's the only way that you're going to create the life that you deserve. Because we all deserve to hit our goals. You have to believe that too. You deserve it. Okay? So with all of that said, you guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. If you have any questions, post them in the Facebook group. And don't forget to tune in on Monday for our week 7, part 2 of the Star Diamond training. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.